All right. Well, welcome. This is a big day for us. This is Ron Wojciechowski for Real Estate in a Nutshell. Today, I am joined by Bill Pipes. He is the leader and head coach over at Agent Academy. And right now, there is a movement in the things that you guys are doing over there. So, Bill, welcome today.
Oh, bro, I'm super stoked to be here. First of all, anytime we start off with Van Hagar, you cannot go wrong, man. So that is amazing, dude. So thank you for A, having me. Thank you for B, starting it off on the right foot. So you know what a big Van Halen fan I am, man. So
I'm taking my notes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we've promised a couple things today. One, we're just going to pull back the curtain and dig deep into some tactics that will really work. And when we talked last week, like, look, there's basically 10 steps to massive success in 2023. And I know we're in this action-based real estate economy right now. But Bill, when you talk about this massive success, there's some paralysis in the market. I mean, just what is your take on today's market and where we have to go as agents to not just get by but thrive in this next session of business?
Yeah, brother. I think I'm going to start with this, right? People call me crazy, but I love a recession, right? I mean, I honest to goodness, Ron, I look at a recession and I get excited, right? And if you really think about real estate from coming out of the pandemic, right? 2000, what was it? 2020, 2021, and even into the beginnings of 2022. And I mean this with all due respect. It was a little bit of what I call a dumbass market, meaning you had to be a dumbass not to sell a bunch of homes. I mean, it required a certain set of skills. But we got away. I just had a great coaching session with the number one REMAX team in all of Canada last year, Peggy Hill and Terry, her partner Terry, and we were talking about this, and we're just like, gosh, people got a little bit lazy. We got a little bit comfortable. We didn't make the adjustments. We didn't make the changes as the market began to shift and the market began to change. And we forgot that, we have to be great salespeople first and foremost. I mean, that is the game, really, is we are real estate salespeople, and we forgot that. Right. So I look at a recession, bro, and I get pumped. I get excited because it really is social or financial Darwinism. And really what social Darwinism, people hear Darwin and they think, oh, well, it's the survival of the fittest. Well, it's really not survival of the fittest. If you dig into Darwin, what Darwin establishes is it's not survival of the fittest. It's an adaptability, that the portion of the species that has an ability to adapt quickly, adapt fast, right? And to be able to move forward is the one that survives, period. So I'm looking right now at the agent population, and there are agents that are up 20, 30, 50, 60, 70% year over year from last year, which was a phenomenal year. And why was it? Because they acted quickly, they acted decisively, they doubled down on the fundamentals, right? And they kept the right frame of mind for the entire thing. So the market's challenging. Yes, it's different. But you know what? That shouldn't have an impact on you in terms of your own production and your own productivity, because truly, brother, this is the time that the strong get stronger and gain more market share. Recession equals great opportunity to serve, Ron. It equals great opportunity to be able to grow a team, to serve your agents, to serve the buyers, to serve the sellers, right? To just do more and gain more as well, too.
Yeah, it's really interesting. When we notice, and we're in a big market of choice, we can choose to do the things that we know will lead to success, or we can choose not to do them. And there may not be any secrets that come out today. And my suspicion is that there's probably nothing new. There's things that we haven't been doing at a super high level. If we're going to increase our skill level and we're going to increase our activity, we know those two things have been proven to work. They're probably the only two things. But this does require a little bit different language of sales piece in order to move through this. And I'm finding right now, I mean, even someone like yourself, I mean, the script master, and I've seen you live go through 100 miles an hour, memorize your script, probably forwards, backwards, and everything. But sometimes one word, one pause matters.
I want to say something really quick, okay? Because we're talking about skills and we'll talk about discipline. If you look at, Ron, you and I were in the business in 2008, okay? And I mean, you remember that, don't you, man? So
it was a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast, right? I talked to some of the agents and the teams that they had. I'll say, who remembers 2008? And I look at the teams. I'm like, shit, some of you guys were actually in junior high at that time. But I remember 2007, 2008. And this was a time, and we're not going back into that. I want to be very clear. But it was a time in the market when financially, like, it was tough, right? And, a lot of my friends who are financiers on Wall Street, economists said, you have no idea how close we got to it just being completely unraveled at that time. In the midst of one of the greatest financial collapses that hopefully, fingers crossed, intention strong, that we ever see, what we saw was, I call it the 17-19% parity. 17%. There was an increase during 2008, 2009, increase of 17% on the number of millionaires in our country, and a 19% increase in the existing millionaires' net worth. That was in the worst of times, right? And why was that? I said it earlier. It's because a couple of things happened. A, they acted quickly. B, they acted decisively in their business. C, and they doubled down on the fundamentals. And one of the key fundamentals in real estate is your skills. Ron, we are moving into a skill and discipline-based market. We are in it right now. We're not moving into it. We are in it. Where what you say and how you say it matters. Where, to your point, the difference between can we get together and I've got time on Monday or Tuesday at 4, what works better for you, instead of just asking, can we set an appointment? Those little nuances in your dialogue are the difference between you getting an appointment or not, having a sale and not having a sale, getting a listing signed and not getting a listing signed. So we'll dig into some hacks, some tips, some tricks on that here in a little bit. So
it's interesting when I think back to that 2010, probably my first full year in the real estate piece. I mean, you want to talk about there wasn't really this internet thing like it is today, and there wasn't all the social media out there. It was voice to voice, face to face, belly to belly. It was door knocking. It was open houses. I mean, I did 2 open houses a day for my first 100 days, and on the weekends I remember doing 4 a day. And that was the only way to meet people, and you didn't have a different choice. And now, we all could go back to doing those things. We might not want to, but we certainly know what to do and how to do it.
Yep.
And those things probably still work to a high level.
No, they do work. We're running this thing right now called Monday Mayhem, which I know that you're aware of. It's amazing to me how much agents want to work. We want direction. We want to know what to do. They're willing. We are not a lazy industry. And I'm very clear on that right now. What Monday Mayhem is, my friends, is it's a 6-hour prospecting stint that takes place every single Monday. We got teams that are doing this right now on the inside of Agent Academy. One team, Mike Perna up in Detroit, set 109 appointments. Let's see, who else? I've got Matt Smith that set like 48 appointments, he and his team. And the list could go on and on, of Michael Baird that set 27, 28 appointments, all in one day, right, of their team. And I'm just inspired and I'm moved, dude. We are not a lazy industry, right? We're an industry that needs some direction right now. And when that direction is made clear, right, like the adoption rate of people working is amazing, is incredible. So.
Yeah, and those are two icons, of good friends of mine too that you mentioned there. And Mike, I've known him for years, and those guys are just nails. They're just like, listen, I don't care if anybody else does it. You got a saying about weird and rich. I mean, he really could care less.
Totally.
He's gonna go ripping and ripping. And Matt, one of the best guys I know. Just don't let him know I said that, because people think we got this little thing. It's like, no,
they're good.
Great brotherhood. But yeah, so Monday Mayhem is certainly a piece. It's just prospecting based, and it's interesting the nuances of what we see now, where it's been so easy to sell in the last couple of years. And how do you say this? I think training was absence, or enforcement of training was probably absent in the last couple. It was so easy. Good luck getting somebody to work really hard when it was easy. And I'm not saying we did a disservice to the agents that came in the industry the last couple of years, but they're in a tough spot right now because they don't know the 2010 type of market. And this isn't me taking 50-pound blocks of ice up the stairs type of work. But if you've never done it before and you don't know how to do it or when to do it or why, it doesn't make any sense to do that, because it was just easy.
And what's interesting, bro, is, and you know me, and for those of you that don't know me, like I believe this. I believe 2 things, like at the core of business. Number one is all great businesses are prospecting based as their core and marketing enhanced, right? And so it means that we lead with this great discipline of picking up the phone, of going to doors. I'm not talking about cold calling, right? I mean, that's a portion of it. I'm talking about like calling your past clients in Sphere, following up with the leads, picking up the phone, not relying just on text and email or video, which are all incredibly important. But see, the lead in is, and I look at, hey, should any agent be afraid right now going into 2023? Yeah, you should. If you don't have the skills and aren't spending time building the most relevant skills, number one, because imagine three circles that intertwine. One is skills in this circle. In this circle over here is disciplines or the behaviors. And in this circle over here, so they all overlap a little bit, is strategies. See, the agents that should be concerned is the ones that don't take the time to build their skills, that haven't actually built the disciplines and the daily rituals and routines that they need to do, or they aren't clear on the strategies. NAR has established that there will be 30% of the agent population that will be gone, right? That will be gone over the course of these next 18 months. And when I look at the people that should be nervous are the ones that aren't over-indexing on their skills, that aren't doing the daily disciplines, and they don't have clarity on the strategy. And so the number one discipline, if I look at this circle of discipline, that every agent, if you want to walk away from something today, I'm going to reinforce, this isn't like a blinding flash of the obvious, but you got to be doing at least an hour a day of lead gen. On the phone, picking it up, old school, doubling down on some fundamentals. I've got this 10-step crush the market plan that we can like talk a little bit about, like pieces. And Ron, I'll send it over to you. I think you may already have a copy, but I'll send it to you again so you can send it out to your audience. But I mean, it's something as simple as this. You want to talk about a simple daily discipline? Here's number one on my crush the market plan. Suit up, boot up, get your ass into the office every single day. Something as simple as that domino, right, increases the productivity of how you're going to engage in your day. But during COVID, during the pandemic, we got stuck at home and a lot of people didn't come out of that, right? They're still working from home. They're spending a lot of time at home. And one of the worst places you can be is at home in today's world because you need the inspiration of being around other people. You need the social environment of it. But more importantly, you need the accountability that being around and being in the office creates. So and there's all types of studies that say when you get up, you brush your teeth, you take your shower, you put your clothes on to go to work, right? It gets the brain switched and it says, this is not me at chill. This is me at war, right? This is me going to battle right now, driving. Okay, walk in the door. Let's go. So it's a simple discipline as that. And then when you're there, an hour a day of lead gen. Calling past clients right now. This is the perfect time of the year to pick up the phone, bro. And I know people are going to be watching this, probably after the holidays, but we're talking right now prior to the holidays, man. I'd be calling every single past client that I actually have and saying, hey, happy holidays. I hope you're doing fantastic. Oh, by the way, what questions do you have about what's going on in the market, the impact it's had on you as a homeowner, or the impact on the value of your home that you bought a year, 2 years, 3 years ago? Be depositing into them and answering any questions and being a resource for them at that point. So
being a resource is so important. And for the agents that maybe haven't had a closing in a minute, that commission breath is really bad around the holidays. Like, hey, so when you're thinking of buying by the end of the year, it might be, hey, you got any travel plans for the end of the year? Slight pivot on that. But if we're a destination market, so that kind of tells us, yeah, we're actually coming to Florida. Okay, well, maybe we'll meet up. Have coffee. Okay. And I believe that there's a way that you can restart that conversation. But I mean, if it's just, you haven't made any phone calls in months, and now you're just going to go through the whole database and call everybody and ready to buy. I mean,
I would say
ain't going to work.
Yeah. Stay away from, if you haven't talked to them this year, in 6 months, whatever, the worst thing you can do is actually have it be a very salesy call, right? Because the sales skepticism is extremely high in the world today. Right? So that call to the past clients, that call to your Sphere, check in. How are you? Happy holidays. Any travel plans? Or better yet, go on social media, see what the hell's going on in their life. Everyone puts everything on there, right? Hey, I see your status went from married to it's complicated, thinking about selling your house. No, I mean, we're going to do that. But I absolutely 110% would be reaching out to all of them. Part of that now I said, one of the key principles that I live my life from a business owner and business coach from is great businesses are prospecting based and marketing enhanced, meaning that I'm still going to do some marketing, right? I'm still going to actually do some video and social media. But the second piece is this I want everyone to understand. There is no challenge so big, and I have found this in my life. There is no challenge so big and so daunting that a strong commitment to prospecting won't overcome, period. Right? Period. Listen, you're not in good shape. Prospect more, make more money, hire yourself a nutritionist, hire yourself a personal trainer. Your relationship is in shambles. Guess what? Prospect more, because when you have more money, you have an ability to have less stress in your life, and therefore you have removed that. You have more connectivity, right? You want more agents on your team? Hey, prospect more, because what happens is you will attract who it is that you are, not what it is that you're. There's all that. I could just go on and on and on. So if I sound like a broken record in terms of, hey, I need you guys to pick up the phone and make calls, good, because I have a commitment, Ron, that is there will be no agent left behind who is committed to working on my watch. And I will do whatever I can to be able to support them and tell them the truth. That's myself and John and Dan, all three of us, though John and Dan are my two business partners. We're all committed to saying the things that nobody else in the industry is going to say to you right now, right? Because we want to see you succeed.
For real. It's interesting. You kind of triggered something with me. And as you're making these calls, I mean, it's two things you can know. Number one, when we have these social media things that tell you when it's their birthday, it's a great way to restart a conversation. Hey, Sal, was your birthday? Have a great weekend. And quick, easy. But the video, taking that phone, turning it sideways, doing a 5 or 10 second video, it's the single biggest weapon that almost never gets used. And I see it across there. And you would know the objections. People, human behavior is such that if they don't recognize the phone number, they're not answering the phone. If the text comes in blind, they automatically think it's some sort of a virus, and they just delete all the emails anyways. But every agent insists that once they see the customer, they can sell anything. Well, video is face-to-face, 2.0, and that is the only way to get in their phone so it actually gets answered. So why all the resistance to it? I mean, it's got to frustrate you as a coach that this is really good for you and you're not doing it.
Bro, I will say something to everybody. I still go through this shit myself. I have videos I need to shoot and I will put it off and put it off. Why? Because I'm afraid it won't be perfect. Right? I'm afraid the lighting won't be great. It won't be as good as somebody else's I've seen. It won't get the action. But you know what? Here's what I've learned a long time ago. Done is always better than perfect. Done is always better than perfect. In 2010, all the way through until 2016, we had our real estate team up here in Salt Lake City, or a satellite team in Silicon Valley, another one in the East Bay of San Francisco, another one partnered with Monica Reynolds and Chris Heller in San Diego, another one in Orange County, and another one down in St. George with John Ames. We had some great partners, right? We were figuring things out. We were going through what it is that ultimately we needed to do. And we were running Boomtown at the time, and Boomtown used to be the freaking Rolls Royce of the CRMs and the lead nurturing systems. And so we made a switch. We heard this at an event, and we decided to make the switch, and we said, we're going to start using video text as a mode of communication for our leads that had ghosted us. Hey, just checking in. Did we do something wrong? Because we left you a couple messages. We sent you some emails. Just want to make sure we're not dropping the ball over here. And would it be crazy? Hey, by the way, guys, I'm going to give you a little hack, right? It comes from my buddy, Mr. Chris Voss, and a big shout out to Chris Voss. If you have not read Never Split the Difference or listened to it, I highly recommend it. Use the phrase, would it be crazy to ask? Hey, Ron, would it be crazy to ask you to give me a call back, right? It's called a forced no, creates an obligatory type of energy where you actually see a tripling in terms of the response. You couple that with the fact that you're using video, which we saw a 60% increase, right? 50 to 60% increase in our responses. Then we added in the would it be crazy to ask, right? And we had people who we hadn't been able to get on the phone that were calling us back, texting us back. So if I'm looking at my Crush the Market plan, another piece that I would add in here for you guys is take every single lead that you have who said, hey, Ron, I want to buy or I want to sell in 2022, but they did not. And even a portion of 2021, I go back like 18 months and they haven't transacted and you don't know if they haven't, you can't get them on the phone. I take my phone. Hey, Ron, it's Bill Pipes over here with ABC Realty. Hope you and the family are doing fantastic. Hey, listen, as we end the new year, I realize we haven't spoken. However, you told me your plans were to move to blank by blank because of blank. I just want to reach out to you because the market has become very beneficial for buyers like yourself, and I don't want you to miss out on this. Would it be crazy to ask you to give me a call back or text me back so I can find out what your plans are and if there's anything I can do to help? Okay. And you do that over and over and over and over and over with all 20, 30, 40, 50 leads that you have that have not bought or sold. And then you follow that up with a phone call, right? If you don't hear back from them. You do that, and I guarantee you'll load the cannon with appointments between now and the end of the year, and especially bubble up some leads of people that are going to buy or sell in the first quarter of 2023.
So, Bill, here's an interesting thing for you. We know that when we make a phone call that we have to sit there like a whole minute spiel because the phone companies still think we need to know how to have directions to leave a voice message. I mean, we wait, like, good God. So legit for me, I can get twice as much prospecting in by video because I can shoot a quick 10-second video, 15-second, and just hit send and not wait a minute. I can get 2 to 3 more times interaction with people. That's far better. And I'm not sure what your experience is or what you're coaching on right now, but I mean, just from a time perspective, I'm doing a couple of things right here. I don't have time. I can't. It's a difference between making 50 and 100 phone calls sometimes is waiting for the stupid voicemail.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the voicemails are 40 seconds, anywhere from 30 to 40 seconds. From the ringing time to the pickup time to the end of the message time to you leaving a message. Why not hang up, leave the video text, right? And then it's much more efficient because I don't know about you guys. I get a voicemail and I'm like, yep, I'll get to that Tuesday after never. Right?
Exactly.
But I get someone that sends me a video text, and I'm like, or even a voice text, right, on my phone. I'm like, damn, I feel obligated to be able to get them a call back, right? So
I'll run the risk that somebody thinks that my video is some kind of virus or spam, but at some point, if they'll get curious and click on it, it's fine. Through social media that you can do it, but I'm just looking for engagement, and I'm getting way more engagement, even with some people. Oh, I don't know what you sent me. Like, oh, it's okay, it's just me, but that was conversation. It got them off the fence to actually be willing to talk to me. So if it's weird, what did you just send me? That's engagement.
That's engagement. Absolutely. And listen, I don't like the way I look on video, people say. Well, they're going to find out what you'll look like eventually if you work with them, or they already know, right, if you've met with them. So it's, like you need to remove a little bit of that ego, a little bit of that concern. Everybody goes through it. And the only way that you get better at anything is through repetition, period. Repetition is the mother of skill. It is the mother of comfort, right? And so, like, I'm more committed. You said it, Ron. Like, when I was 23, 24 years old, I was like this raw salesperson. I loved it. It was appropriate for where it is that I was. And I remember some of the veteran salespeople were like, God, man, they actually call me rah recharge. That was my nickname, rah recharge. Completely politically incorrect in today's world, in any world, right? But I finally just went, you know what? As I was making money and started out producing them, I said, I would rather be weird and rich than cool and poor any day, right? So, and it just became a mantra for me from my mid-20s all the way through till today, and it's one of those ways that I live my life. So, people aren't thinking about me that much. They're not doing whatever. If I can produce results, serve more people, then I'm willing to do whatever technique as long as it's ethical as I possibly can. So,
who's this guy, Steve Jobs, had a video about the crazy ones or something like that. So
I heard about that guy once upon a time. So
you know what? I mean, and to kind of put a bow on this, though, I mean, Bill, 100% of the people that you've met know what you look like and sound like. You're the only person on the planet that's self-conscious. They already know what you look and sound like, so it's only awkward to you.
That's right. You're the only one that doesn't like the way that your voice sounds. I will say that, right? Because we all like record our voice and go, do I really sound like something like that? Yep, that's how you sound, but that's how people know you. So I think for me, if I look at this and as individuals are looking at what I need to do to crush the remainder of this year, well, number one, you need to suit up, boot up, get into the office every single day. Number two, take all those leads that you have, shoot a video out to them, call them at the same time. Don't just rely upon the video text, but call them and have a conversation with them that says, hey, Ron, it's Bill Pipes over here with Banana Real Estate. I'm just giving you a call back like I said I would. because you had plans that you were going to buy sometime this year before January the 1st. Are those still your plans, or have they changed? No, Bill, those are still my plans, but we've moved them off a little bit. So you haven't bought yet? No, I haven't. Right? Hey, listen, if there was a benefit to you to having an ability to be able to have less competition, while at the same time still being able to afford even a nicer house than you were 6 to 12 months ago, would that be of interest to you? Oh, Bill, I don't think you see how that's possible. Then here's another hack. Are you ready? That's exactly why we need to set a strategy session. That's exactly, don't call it an appointment, call it a strategy session. Because see, in a strategy session, it's not obtrusive. It doesn't have a lot of pressure. And in that strategy session, what we're going to do is I tell them, we're going to put your plan together, make sure everything's in line, find out a little bit more about the changes in the market so I can help educate you so that you can make a very intelligent decision. And when you are ready, move forward so you don't lose any money. You don't want to lose any money, do you? No, I don't, Bill. That's exactly why we need to set an appointment. I got time on Monday or Tuesday at 4. And I just repeat that over and over again. I call it the old lead revival script. I will send that to you as well, too. Okay.
That's interesting. And, as we get into this role play, I'm sure we can go toe to toe on this for a minute over here, and you'll eventually win, but I will give you a run for your money. But what's always been interesting to me is I can pick up any lead, any call at any time, and they're going to have amnesia. So whatever I say, they're just going to make the assumption that it was gospel and truth all at the same time. Hey, Bill, it's Ron at ABC Realty. And the last time we talked over the summer, you mentioned that I should call you towards the end of the year to update your home search.
So good.
And so now it's just all tethered together. It's like, now it's like, did I tell you? I guess they're like, yeah, they just open right to that. I guess I told them to call me.
Totally. That's brilliant. I love that. I've never heard that before. I'm so ripping that off, right? I love that. Because most people can't remember what they ate last Tuesday for dinner, let alone a conversation they had 6 months ago.
I'm not as big on the easy button. And if I just tell you that you told me to call you back, you're leaning in.
Yeah.
Why did I tell you that? You had mentioned about buying a beach condo, and it was always a dream of yours. And at the time, it didn't seem too possible, but you told me to call you at the end of the year. And now you're just doing a reset and double tie down. You just, boom, got it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because in many cases, and speaking from integrity, they do say, why don't you give me a call back? Why don't you give me a call back at the end of this year? Why don't we connect then? So you are in integrity with the request that they had actually made. So, okay, brilliant.
When they say call back, you just insert. You insert a time that way. There's always a deadline in something, even if it's artificial. Yeah. Say, give me a call back today. Great. You know what? Hey, I'll give you a call back. 20, 30 days? That sound good to you? You're like, yeah, whatever. I want to get you off the phone. Bill, we talked like 3 weeks ago. You told me to give you a call back in 20 days. It's going to be a brief call, like 1-2 minutes. And I think over time, those are the nurtures that you want.
Well, and here's the key that I want everyone to recognize as well, too. And you know this, Ron, from your experience, is intuitively, we all recognize we're most likely not going to get the appointment on the very first conversation. In fact, my data has shown, our data over a couple of thousand of agents, is that agents that have 5 conversations with a lead, 5, will make on average $107,000 more than an agent that has fewer than 5 conversations with a lead. Right? So if I'm looking at, I want you to get a raise, and I know every single one of you, if I said, would you like to have a raise in 2023? Hands would go up, feet would go up, heads would nod, right? Well, number 1 is suit up, boot up, get in the office every day. But number 2 would be make a commitment. You're going to have 5 conversations with every single lead that you're currently working right now. Can you get to that 5th mark? Because most people, when I ask in a room, how many of you follow up 5 times or more? It's maybe 10%. And of that 10%, I would say 50% of that 10% is lying. Right? So,
liar.
They're liars, right? Most people are 2 or 3 conversations with a lead and they're done, right? Stick to the 5, right? Stick to the 5.
Totally enjoying this, Bill. So, when we talk about, and I want to bring the word formula up right now, and we've all heard ad nauseum calls, contacts, appointments, offers written, contracts accepted and closed. There's an absolute formula there, and I think what's lost, we hear it, but we don't spend enough time actually doing it and punching the numbers in there. In the first 30 days, the data's kind of skewed, but after about 6 months, it's really hard to move the needle. You begin to know, as your sales catch up, hey, if I make 218 phone calls, I'm going to book 1 appointment, and if I make 275 phone calls, I'm going to have a sale. And all of a sudden, you get a very predictable business. And I've got a couple of young guys right now that we're coaching on the team, and they're showing up and legit, they're making 100 calls a day. And let me tell you, sometimes I walk by and I'm like, ugh, because it is brutal in the beginning. We were all bad until you're not.
Totally.
But I know that at 100 phone calls is going to sound one way. But let's come back after 100 days, after 10,000 phone calls, and how polished is that going to be? And I believe that force multipliers, I mean, you can script and script and script, but if you're not in battle and making the call in real time and raising the heart rates, two different things.
Completely. There's plenty of people I know that crush it at role play and they poop the bed in real life. Right? And why?
Pick up the phone.
Yeah, because they're not picking up the phone enough. Listen, there's a good friend of mine. I haven't talked to her in quite some time. She was doing and selling 100 to 200 homes a year when no one was doing this in like the early 90s, early to mid 90s. Her name's Karen Bernardi. Big shout out to Karen Bernardi in Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado. Karen and I were on a ski lift together in outside of Vancouver. What is it? Whistler, right? Whistler, Blackcomb. And I said, Karen, you have been so successful. How have you been able to avoid all the failures? She goes, Bill, I haven't. She goes, the reason I've succeeded is I failed more than every single person that's out there. See, other people stop. I just simply kept going. And she said something to me. She said, you know, like success is a series of well-managed failures and breakdowns. And the quicker that I could fail forward, do it as fast as I possibly could, she said, I knew I was going to succeed. Most people are afraid of failure. They don't look at it as the greatest opportunity for growth and for advancement as they possibly can, and as the separator between them and the competitors that stop when it gets a little bit tough or when their ego gets bruised. To that point, this is going to be a challenging market, Ron. This is going to require a lot of work, a lot of effort. This is not going to be a walk in the park with rainbows and unicorns, right? Tiptoeing through the tulips. We'll be very clear. 2023 will be a battle, right? And there will be blood in the water and there will be freaking bodies on the battlefield, right? And so what you've got to make sure that you're doing is you're protecting this as well too, okay? Because if we look at Ron, we talk about Matt, or we talk about Goran, or we talk about Mike Perna, or we talk about even John Cheplack or Dan Beer, or any of the teams, Michael Baird, Lee Tessier. I could go through the list of men and women over and over and over. You know what they have in common? They have an unshakable mindset. And when it does get shaken, then they're able to get back on top really quick. Why is that? Are they born that way? No. They work at it every single day. So one of the things that I would highly encourage you as part of like 10 steps or as many as we're going through today is this. You got to be doing like 6 things every single day. And I see you doing this, bro, every single day. And I love the post. Work out for 10 to 15 minutes. Listen for 10 to 10 minutes to something that is going to educate and inspire you. David Goggins' new book just came out, right? And it got delivered last night to me. He sent it to me and I'm like, I'm planning tonight. I'll stay up till 1 o'clock reading that sucker, right? So, and if you don't know David Goggins, start with his book, Can't Hurt Me. It's just a game changer in terms of grit. You need to be able to do some affirmations every single day. Don't sell yourself. Get your mind in the right frame of reference. I'm alive, excited, full of energy. Right now, I'm the voice of lead, not fall, create, not destroy, believe, not doubt, force for good, force for God. I'm a leader. I have my group of affirmations that I do that just puts me in the right frame of mind. You got to meditate every single day, right? Take time to pray, those two together. You got to read 10 pages. You can write down 10 things you're grateful for. You do those 6 things. That's my rotation, right? That's the key 6. You do that rotation every single day. You will breathe life into, have more strength for, and also maintain a strong mindset to attack 2023. Okay?
You know, what I found, Bill, is that when you talk about 6 things as you did, as you do those, pretty much everything is easier and better at the same time.
I agree 100%, man. And here's the key. It gets more fun, right? People have this collapse that hard work. When I say hard work, grit, grind, they go, oh, man, that's not going to be fun. There's nothing more fun for me than a long run, climbing a mountain, getting the grit, the grind of getting to the top of that, the grit and the grind of prospecting 6 hours a day for Monday Mayhem, the grit, the grind of practicing scripts, the grit, whatever, it becomes fun because you know you're not Sisyphus, the old story of myth of Sisyphus, who was punished by the god to roll the rock up the hill right? And then it gets to the top and the rock rolls back down. He has to start all over again. We're not Sisyphus, right? We're not pushing the rock up the hill to see it roll back down. We're pushing the rock up the hill to have a break, to push it up the next hill, to get higher and higher.
Yeah, really good stuff, Bill. So where do we take this next? So we're in this action-based economy where we're skill building, we're increasing our activity. Is there a shiny object out there that is going to fix it all?
Okay, see if I can find this. Hope I did not throw it away. And I wasn't going to lean on this, but I will. Wait 1 second, because I hope I have this in my pages of notes. It's B. Aha! Just found this today, right? It's this. B equals P plus C. B equals P plus C. Well, what is that? What does it mean? It's the most important equation you're probably going to see in your entire life, right? And what does it stand for? We've talked about everything that you need to do and all the steps you need to take, but those are behaviors. Well, what is the functionality of behaviors? It's the people that you associate with, Ron, and the environment that you're inside. Your behaviors are a function of the people plus the environment that you're inside. As you go into 2023, my friends, here's what I would say. Guard your environment. Make it inspiring. Put yourself around other people that are doing more than you, thinking in the way that you want to. Cut some people out if you need to. And don't go up to them and go, you, God, right? You just choose who you're going to have, your boundaries of who you're going to spend time with. We all know the story, right? Or the study. That is, you are the sum of the 5 people in terms of income that you hang out the most with. Some of us in 2023 need to find a new group, right? A group that will push you, a group that will inspire you, will motivate you, and hold you accountable to what you said you're going to do. So if there's one thing I would leave these guys with, it's your behaviors are going to be a function of the people you're around and the environment that you're inside of.
You know, it's interesting. I remember back in the financial crisis days, I was in the mortgage business, and I coined a phrase, and I was still making my calls. And of course, I mean, those were the days you had like an 800 credit score, 20% down, like almost no debt or no debt. And no, denied, no loan. I'm like,
that's right. No soup for you.
Was it to make calls or not make calls? And I walked over to some of the senior loan officers, and I remembered it. Me being the popular guy that I was, like, I got to be honest with you. I got the cure for you. Hold it. You know, like, oh, here you go. Magic wand. You know, that'll fix it. And then, you know, my real showstopper was, Bill, I got to be honest with you, hitting refresh on your computer, it's not a business plan.
That's right.
And it gets super easy. And I believe I think we know what to do. I think that we probably don't want to do it because we haven't had to do it. And yet we know what's good for us. And I believe that the ones that get through this market are the ones that are they're going to have a gut check and say, all right, you know, do I really want to do this? And if I do, here's what the business requires today. Now, this just it. I don't think it's any different. I think the business always required these skill sets. It just required a whole lot less of it the last 2-3 years. We didn't do it. I think it always required it.
It always required it. Really, the last couple of years, you didn't have to prospect. I know that sounds absolutely insane for me to even say this. You didn't need to prospect. Why? Because you had a line of people that wanted to buy or sell because the market was so frothy and people had so much appreciation. They go to parties and their friends would tell them about, I bought this house and it went up $200,000 over the course of like 20 minutes, right? And so people were like, oh my gosh, man, I want to be part of this. What we did have to have a skill for was managing people's unfulfilled expectations, buyers specifically, in terms of being able to to write up 7 offers to get one accepted. They had to manage sellers in terms of, hey, yes, you can sell and we'll go to work. I mean, I remember this as a conversation as a coach, right? With many coaching clients where they're like, we have all these people that want to sell, but they have no place to move to. So therefore they're not putting their house in the market. It was a different set of skill set, right? But we didn't need to do a lot of prospecting. Now you need to. Now here's the last thought that I have for them today is this. For all of you, the market will discipline those who fail to discipline themselves. The market will discipline those who fail to discipline themselves. And when you discipline yourself, it only costs you time. It weighs ounces. When the market disciplines you, it costs you opportunity and lifestyle, and that makes tons. So the choice is yours. It always is. Choice is mine. The choice is Ron's on what we're going to choose. Either we're going to self-inflict some discipline ourselves, right? And be able to actually move ourselves forward, or we're going to wait for the exterior forces to discipline us. At that point, we lose a lot of those choices, those options.
Well, there's one or two questions, if we can just touch on those.
Sure, man.
There was one Suzanne mentions, love the script for the client that didn't buy or sell in the past year. And they're wondering if they can get a copy of that because you nailed it. And that'd be a great ending of the year video. Is that something you'd be able to share?
100%. I'll send that over to you, Ron. Absolutely. So, and then you can send that out to everybody for sure. And I'll send over the 10-step, what I call crush the market plan, right?
We'll get that out to everybody. That's a huge piece of value for everybody here. There's one other one here. Pleasure learning today. I wanted to ask, what do you do to adapt in these fast changes in the market? Because for some people, this is like a whiplash situation right now. Do you think there's probably some people adapting quickly, but I think there's some people still in denial.
Oh, completely. Yeah, there are absolutely, I would say probably 60 to 70%, maybe even more, 80% of the market of real estate agents that are waiting for this market to turn around. Number one, you got to recognize something. This shit ain't turning around until 2025, period. Okay? We're in this until end of 2024 is what all my friends who are economists are saying. That doesn't mean the market's going to go backwards. It means it's going to go forward at just a much, much slower rate. Okay. And what I would say to the individual that said, what do I need to do to adapt quickly? Go back to the fundamentals, right? Go back to the fundamentals. Number two, educate yourself with data about what's taking place through companies like Keeping Current Matters, Housing Wire, CoreLogic. The list goes on and on. Even Zillow and Redfin's economists are super smart individuals. I'm not saying that the companies are super smart companies, but I'm saying their economists are incredibly smart economists. And any data that you can get to be able to share with your clients, first of all, to be able to, I call it control the narrative. I think I told you our number one discipline is lead generation every single day. The number one skill is the skill to control the narrative. What is the narrative? The narrative is the belief that people have about the market as is dictated typically by the media, right? And the media's representation of what's happening in real estate is doom and gloom, and it's the end of the world as we know it, right? So you and I both know that song. The rest of them think I've lost my mind and sing it.
Almost old enough to remember it.
Almost old. Thank you for making me feel old. So, but we take that information and that data and we share it with our buyers and our sellers, our past clients in our sphere, and we can control the narrative and give them the alternative narrative of what's really going on based upon data, not the drama. See, I think great salespeople educate their clients and are able to move them from drama to data, move them from emotion, right, to logic at that point. And my belief has always been that an educated and motivated, those two need to be in place. They need to be motivated, but our job is to educate them. An educated and motivated consumer will always make more intelligent choices. So.
That's awesome, Bill. I will tell you that, and I hear it a lot. We've talked about it. Right now, a lot of people are in discomfort. I would argue I'm in as much discomfort as I can possibly manufacture, and then just add a little bit more on top of it. My day right now feels like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. And yet we continue forward, and I'll say this, my wife, Jess, I don't know where she came up with this one day, but she just talking to somebody else. I was not paying attention, but then I heard her say something about me, which was interesting because I didn't come up with this. He has this unwavering determination. And I heard that, I'm like, oh, because, it's kind of cool to hear, but I'm like, but now I can't unhear that. So every time I'm ready to take my foot off the gas pedal, I'm like, are you going to honor that? Or is that a one-time thing or an all-the-time thing? And I think, what does John say? How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I would, David Goggins, who I love the guy to death. There's got multiple pictures of him and I up on my wall right now. And he said, there is nothing in the world that will stop the person who is religious. And that's why your mindset matters, your skills matter, your discipline. Because, when you have that burning desire, it's not going to be easy. It's going to feel like everything else. But at the same time, here's our family model. When times get tough, and I'm going to tell you that, you never know what's going on in somebody's life. And you look at from the outside of what's going on. And you don't know. I got just as much stuff personally going on, managing with my kids, relationship with my girlfriend, and everything's going on, right? And I was leading a seminar in Atlanta. I asked this question to everyone. I said, how many of you have had something that is going on this week personally that could have taken you out completely from this? I was amazed. Ron, guess what percent of hands?
I think we all.
95%. 95% of a room of 475, 500 people. It was at that moment I went, everyone's got shit going on. Our family has a mantra. I'll leave you with this. That mantra is this, that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, the universe is working for you, not against you. And it's in those moments of adversity that you look back in terms of that's when you were formed, right? Steel sharpens steel. So this year, celebrate the adversity, celebrate the challenge, right? Do everything you can to have your skills where they need to be, the disciplines in line, your why and your mindset dialed in, that you're around the right people, your environment is protected, you're executing on the right strategies. I promise you, it will be your next year. I'll bet on you.
Bill, I can't thank you enough for spending time with us today, and I look forward to receiving the materials. I'll make sure I'll honor that, getting out to everybody. And it's go time, baby.
It's go time, baby. Let's go. Ron, thanks for putting this together. Thanks for the contribution, the deposits you continue to make into the agent population, both in your local and the national market. I'm very proud to actually consider you a friend and someone that I'm in the foxhole with. So again, thank you, Bill, for having me on. For all of you guys, happy holidays. If you're watching this post, happy holidays. Get your ass to work. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome. All right. Bill Pipes, Agent Academy. This is Ron Wojciechowski for Real Estate in a Nutshell.